topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. We're for the last it's now 17 years since we have been airing our show throughout the country. Today is our Florida show, and today is our second day of offering our show on TikTok. You can go to the Ask the Experts radio show. We are live on there now. And I could not wait. This is a long-time expert who has been with us, Ray Ferrara with Provise Management Group. And he's right before we went on the air, I told him we're going to be on TikTok this morning. And he said to me, what does that mean? I think TikTok could be maybe the second largest platform in the United States, well, actually in the world, but the United States. It is huge, and it has taken us 2 years to get to where we could put our show on live. It's going to bring in so many more listeners and viewers, and I'm so glad that we've got Ray Ferrara with Provise Management Group. Good morning, Ray.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Steve, and congratulations to you and the team on the TikTok connection.
Hey, listen, so now we have all these new listeners and viewers. Tell people about Provise Management Group.
Sure, Stephen, thanks. Provise Management Group is a financial planning firm with offices in Clearwater and Tampa, Florida. Although we have clients scattered over more than 30 states, serving about 1,200 families. And managing about $2 billion. Although we are managing that much money, our emphasis is on the financial planning side. We're working with people not just on investment management, but retirement planning, estate planning, charitable giving, education planning. The list goes on and on, asset protection. And we believe that when we have a written financial plan, that can be followed, people will have opportunity for greater success than if they don't have a plan. And we always offer, Steve, as you know, a 1-hour complimentary consultation in our Tampa or Clearwater office. And for now that we are worldwide live, anybody else, of course, by Zoom, which we use more and more frequently, even for those that are local here to the Tampa Bay area. And all you have to do is give our offices a call at 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. And say, I'd like to take advantage of that complimentary 1-hour consultation with Ray. Yes, you will meet with me. And I'm happy to have the new audience to take advantage of it as well. So again, that number is 727-441-9022. Or if you want to learn more about us first, simply go to provise.com.
Well, I got to tell you, and Ray does 2 shows a month with us. He does the first Monday of the month, 9 o'clock Eastern time, and he does the third Monday of the month, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And I got to tell you, Ray's advice that he has given our listeners and viewers has been impeccable. I mean, it's almost like he's got a crystal ball. I know he doesn't like me doing that, but he has been right on so many times. Ray, let's get to the questions because this show goes by so fast. And the first one I want to add, everybody is writing about what is this, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it a war or a blockade. It's not really a war right now. It's more of a blockade, but what is that doing to our economy?
Well, first of all, Steve, reports early this morning indicated initially that Iran had fired a missile at one of our naval ships in the strait, and that it sustained damage. The U.S. Central Command, which is based here in Clearwater, or excuse me, in Tampa, indicated that no ship had been damaged. So lots to still worry about what is happening there. The fact of the matter is that there are over 2,000 ships that are locked into the waters that cannot get through the Straits of Hormuz. And that's affecting about 20,000 sailors in the process. And as all of us have read over and over again, about 1/5 of the world's oil supply comes through those straits, and that has jacked up prices. This weekend, I filled up the car and was shocked when I looked up to see that gasoline was at $5 a gallon for premium. They say consumer sales are up, and it's true. They are, but what consumers are spending their money on are not the things we would like to see. And when you're spending $5 for a gallon of gasoline, or if you're in California, $6 or more, that's not healthy for the economy. As a result of all of this, however, you look at earnings in the market, the earnings which were projected in the first quarter to be up 14%, were up almost 28% so far, double what the best guesstimates were of the so-called pundits who really have that crystal ball, not me. As you know, my crystal ball is cracked and foggy. The longer this goes on, the more likely it is that the world will tumble into a recession. Our hope is that Iran and the U.S. can come to terms. They keep trying. Maybe they're moving a little bit closer at the moment. But war is never a good thing for the world markets in general. So let's just hope that it ends as soon as it can, because if it drags on and on, it is not going to be good for our economy or our markets.
I agree. Now that Jerome Powell is soon to be no longer the Federal Reserve Chair, what changes can we expect from the new Fed Chair, Kevin Warsh?
So first of all, Chairman Powell is no longer Chairman Powell. He is Federal Reserve person staying on the Federal Reserve. It's only the second time in history that a chair has continued to serve after the chairmanship. The last time it happened was back in 1948, and during the Truman administration. So it's a very unusual move. But I think that Powell has reluctantly stayed to, first of all, kind of protect himself. And by that, I mean the charges that have been leveled at him, although dropped by the Justice Department, did not provide full transparency by his definition, and certainly was not a finality of nothing wrong. So he has decided to stay for the time being. I also think that he's staying, unfortunately, for political purposes. And I say unfortunately because the Fed's supposed to be apolitical, and that means that Congress and the president can't mess around with the Fed, but it also means that the Fed shouldn't be politicized itself outwardly. And there is a signal that might be happening in spite of Powell's saying, I'm not going to be a shadow chair. I'm not going to work behind the scenes against the new chairman, Warsh. But, he's been there a long time. And his presence in the room will speak volumes. I do not think the votes are there to lower interest rates at the present time. And in fact, I would argue that there may be enough votes in the room very shortly, given that inflation has now gone back over 3%, to raise interest rates. Which is going to absolutely drive the president crazy if that were to happen. But I'm going to believe in the new chairman until he proves otherwise. When he said he would not play politics as the new continue to or to lower interest rates, but I don't think he's going to have the votes. Certainly at the next meeting in June, I don't rate that very high. So I think rates will stay the same at least June, maybe even into the fall, before something happens with interest rates up or down. And we go back to the war again. Certainly, if the war were to end, the price of oil and energy would go down. That would help the inflation picture. That would make it easier to lower the interest rates. So maybe we get something in the late summer where interest rates get eased a little bit.
So April was one of the best months for the markets in years. What happens next now that everything is so high? Should a person sell and come back when it goes back down?
Well, yes, April definitely was one of the best months, not just in years, but literally in decades. Just a phenomenal push. Interestingly, however, a lot of that, and not surprisingly, was pushed as a result of the technology revolution that's going on and the money that's being spent there. It's purported that the average stock is actually down about 15% for the year. And while that sounds draconian, the fact of the matter is it's not a terribly unusual situation to have certain one or two sectors leading the market while others are languishing. But to the point of selling and then buying back, for heaven's sakes, no. We do not believe in market timing. I don't know why people would be selling at this point if they're long-term investors. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have capital gains, and you could pay as much as 24.9% if you're subject to the Obamacare tax on investment gains. And so you're cutting the amount of capital that you have down. Secondly, if you did sell and then the market were to make a quick rebound like it did in April, you'd be stuck if you wanted to buy some of those companies back, you couldn't buy it back for 31 days. You'd have to wait. Otherwise, you may run afoul of a wash sale, particularly if you happen to sell some stocks that were down. The government will never ask you to correct selling when you're paying taxes, but if you're selling stocks that you might own that are down and then try to buy them back at a lower price, you need to wait. Otherwise, the government said you never sold it in the first place. So trying to time the market is a fool's folly. No one has done it successfully over time. If they have, they'd be very, very rich, and nobody has been able to do that. So stay in the market if you're a long-term investor. If your time horizon is 10 years or more, and most likely even if it's 5 years or more, because you'll go through a cycle about once every 4 or 5 years. So just hang in there. If you have a lot of cash and you're sitting on the sideline, however, consider dollar cost averaging, adding a little bit of money each month, equal amounts, and do it over a period of time to kind of buy an average over the next couple of months. So please, whoever was asking the question of us, do not sell in an attempt to time the market. It just doesn't work. Even with my crystal ball, Steve, it doesn't work.
Hey, I just want to remind everybody we are live on TikTok right now. This is only our second show. We have got, I wish Ray could see this, we've got so many people wanting to join in. I'm still in the testing mode, and there's so many things to learn about TikTok. We will eventually be bringing people up to ask your questions, but I'm seeing all these people wanted to be invited up and join. This is Provise Management Group. They're one of the top money management groups in the United States, out of Florida. They have been with us for, I think, Ray, you've been with us for at least 5 years now. And you provide so much great financial information. Let's go to Bobby in Naples. He wants to know, why is Bitcoin not running back up? It seems like a good buy now. That is almost half of its value.
Well, it is very, very interesting with Bitcoin. First of all, for all of our new listeners, TikTok or otherwise, let me just say up front, I am not a believer in Bitcoin or digital assets as an investment. It produces no product. It provides no dividend. It is simply a function of what one person believes the value is to buy from another that has a similar view. Bitcoin did get up well into the 120,000 before it plummeted to a low somewhere in the mid 60s a few months ago. Right now, languishing between $75,000 and $80,000. And what's been interesting in this is that Bitcoin seemed to be doing best when the Mag 7 were doing well. And yet, even though the Mag 7 have done well again this year, recovering as we talked about earlier in April, Bitcoin hasn't moved in any dramatic way since then. If you want to own Bitcoin or any other digital asset, just think of it as Las Vegas money, because that's what it is. We said at the beginning of the year, we did make a prediction that Bitcoin would set a new 6-month low, and before it would start to rebound and go back up again. And it did exactly that, only 3 weeks into the year. So we're not Bitcoin fans. We don't think it's a way to invest intelligently for the long term. Just remember, on every trade that occurs, somebody wins, somebody loses, and Bitcoin is simply something that's floated out there. It's like art. Art's prices, is it the art that's pricey, or is it the name on the canvas that's pricey? And again, when it's all in the eye of the beholder, that is not the way we believe in investing. And just want to remind everybody that our listeners are entitled to a 1-hour complimentary consultation with me personally in either our Clearwater or Tampa, Florida offices, or by Zoom. And all you have to do to take advantage of that is to give me a call at 727-441-9022. Just say you want to take advantage of the complimentary 1-hour consultation, and we'll be sure to schedule that meeting to visit with you.
You've got such a great newsletter. I got to compliment you on that. It goes out every month, Ray?
It goes out twice a month. It goes out on the 1st and the 15th of every month. We call it the Provise Perspectives. If people would like to take a look at it, first of all, we'd be happy to add them to our email list that we send out again on the 1st and the 15th every month, or they can go to our website, provise.com, and we have all of our issues there. So you can go back and see what we were saying. And unlike some pundits who forget what they said when things didn't work out the way they said, we have to live with us not being right. And that's okay, because we're not going to be right all of the time. But considering we're celebrating our 40th year in August, we're going to be here for the long run, and that's the way we believe in investing, is in the long run.
Ron in Tallahassee, what are the advantages and disadvantages of having, say, a living trust as part of my estate plan?
So a living trust is something that goes back to the old feudal days, way back in England, when landowners put their property in trust because they were afraid of the king confiscating their lands while they were off fighting the Crusades. So they're very steeped in English law, and therefore in America. And the living trust is just another way to own property. And the advantages of a living trust primarily are one, that it minimizes the cost of probate, because anything that's owned in a living trust does not have to go through the probate process, which is very public, very costly, and very time consuming. And then the second is in the event that you become incapacitated, you have named someone to manage your assets on your behalf on a go forward basis, rather than perhaps being caught into a guardianship. And we've got a complete report on living trust that explain all the advantages and disadvantages. So if anybody would like to have a copy of that, again, all they have to do is call us at 727-441-9022 and set up your 1-hour complimentary consultation, ask for our newsletter, or the report that we have on living trusts.
And Ray, again, will be back with us in 2 weeks. Hey, I want to thank, this is kind of nice. I'm watching on my cell phone on TikTok, all the people who've wanted to join today. We really appreciate that. I wish all the platforms would work this way. Ray will be back with us in 2 weeks at 9:00 Eastern time. Ray, one more time with your phone number.
It's 727-441-9022, or go to provise.com and check us out, and then give us a call.
Great. Hey, Ray, always great information. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
That'd be great, Steve. Take care.
Thank you. We're going to go to break. We come back. We're doing our tax relief show. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.